Okay, next on my bench I have something unique. Came off my shelves, and to be honest with you, I don't even know where it came from, because this is probably one of those things that I've picked up at a garage sale just because it was in good condition and unique and old. And threw it on one of my shelves, and here I am maybe 20 years later, and I'm looking at this, and it's got dust on it. But yeah, it's let's look at it together and see if we can get it working. It's a Lloyd's transistor tape recorder. Comes in this really nice travel case. It's very nicely finished. It's a nice unit. It's not something you'd expect. Look at that little hinge door, and inside we got tucked away. Can you see this? I hope so. It looks like a desktop microphone. You know, to do some dictation. Here's an earphone. I don't even know if that's ever been used. Let's look at it. Yeah, it's probably been used. It's got some, looks like it's got a burn on it. I may have a burn on it. But it probably still works. It's a little 1/8 phono jack. So that's kind of cool. I'll play with that later. But a little cubicle for storing your microphone, and I believe there's a power adapter that goes with this. Although it's not with the machine, it runs off an AC adapter, and it runs off of batteries. Let's have a look at this. So yeah, it's a nice unit. 1/4-inch tape. It's got the 5-inch reels. Looks like that was taping the end shut. So everything's, all the controls are here. It is a recorder. Play and rewind. There's no fast forward. And a volume control. Selector between battery current and AC adapter. Look at the AC adapter is like an RCA input. It's kind of unique. And inputs for the earphone and microphone input, earphone output. And yeah, it's fairly basic. Let's see what's behind this door. Oh, here's another thing. This is the capstan, and it has 2 speeds. So what you do is you put this roller on the capstan, and you get your higher speed. And then when you're not using that higher speed, you mount it on this post for storage. A couple thumb screws, nicely chromed. And we have our battery container. Now it holds 6 D cells. It holds 6 D cells. You can see their placement there. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put some power to this thing and see if we can get it running. I don't know how much of this you can read. It's pretty fine print. It's got your full instructions, specifications. It runs off 9 volts. It's push-pull type. Frequency range 200 Hz to 7,000 kHz. Signal to noise ratio 40 dB. Output power maximum of 400 milliwatts. And it's got a 5 transistor circuit. It's got a DC bias recording system. Erase system is probably a permanent magnet that's on the head here that flips in place, and it does 2 speeds, 7.5 and 3 3/4, depending on which capstan roller you use. And it takes standard 1/4-inch tape. Fast rewind is 2 minutes for a full reel of tape. It's not bad. And yeah, It's pretty unique. It gives you a little breakdown of how to work it. Anyways, let's try putting power to this and seeing what we can get. Alright, so we have a battery container. We have 2 connections on this side, 2 connections on this side. Just want to see which side, because one side will be shorted and then the other side they'll take the power off. So I'll just take with my continuity tester. That one's open, that one's closed. So this is the shorted. This is where they're taking the power from. That's where I'll connect my leads. And judging from the picture, the top one is your positive and the bottom one is your negative. So I'll put the bottom one negative. I can get in there with my fingers. Top one positive. Okay. Now I want to switch this to battery, because that's where we're feeding power into. And let's see if this works. Ooh, that's some awful noise. Is that noise from the speaker? I'm getting a loud hiss from the speaker. This is not very good here. Rewind works okay, it's got lots of torque. The play is very noisy. Yeah, that noise is from the speaker. The difference between record. A lot of noise, mechanical noise. Play. You can hear that. Let's thread a tape and see what we can do. So we got side 2 here, so I don't know about side 1. I don't want to rewind it yet. Let's just go with side 2 for now. Be interesting to get this thing going, because I have lots of other vintage radios and tape players. Okay, I think we're threaded. Volume's at low. Not getting any audio. It sounds terrible, the mechanics of this thing. Sounds like an old farmer's cart. Okay, well, let's open up the back and see what we can do for this thing. Now, from what I can see, I think I just have to remove these 4 screws, and the wooden case should come right off. Let's try this first. Yep, that's exactly what happens. So here's the inside of the case. Nice. Is that mahogany? Solid wooden case. It's nice. I like that. You don't get quality like that anymore. And what's going on here? Oh, look at that belt. Okay, so we're going to need a belt. And you see that belt? And this motor probably needs lubrication. Wow, this thing is old. I wonder what year this is. If I can get a year off one of these parts. A little amplifier there. Germanium transistors. So I expect one of those are gone. You got some really old capacitors in there. We'll go through and we'll check all these transistors and whatnot to make sure everything's working. But for right now, let's get that belt changed. It looks like it's quite an involved job. I have to remove the motor. And this cover on the capstan. So what is that? Doesn't look like anybody's been in here. Here's the electrical switches for the modes. Old style resistors. These are notorious for changing value, so I'll check all those resistors as well. And we've got some old caps here, 500 microfarad, 15 volts. We'll go through and check these resistors, caps, change that belt. What kind of belt is that? Is that a round one? I can't even get it. It's a round belt. I don't think I have any round belts. Might be able to substitute a square one. And then we'll have to lubricate the motor and the capstan, of course. And I don't know how the rewind is fed. And the rewind is fed from a tire, so I'll have to remove that and lubricate that as well. Seems very service friendly. It's a nice big chassis. It's got lots of room to work. I like this these thumb knobs here they got for removing the capstan, and even the pinch roller comes right off. No problem. Let's just see what we have here. And that will need a lubrication as well because that's dry. Very nice. I wonder I guess this is probably all metric. What is turning? Oh, there's a screw I have to take. I need to remove the front panel before I start taking things apart here. So let's get this front panel off. Okay, I think I need these two screws. Okay, we're just stuck here. Okay. They went to a lot of effort building this thing. It's really a nice build quality. Let's see what we got here now. One big tire for this, and one little tire for rewind. A tape head. And here's a magnetic for erasing the tape. When that swings into place, that kills whatever recording that was on there before. It's nice. Even the foam hasn't perished yet. Everything looks good. Okay, so I have a screw here. These two screws, I think it is, that were spinning on me, so I have to remove those. This one first. Can't even get my socket on there. Okay, now we got the capstan free flywheel. Pretty heavy. I'll lubricate that shaft, this belt. The motor's going to come out. If you look here, it's got the positives going to this terminal. This terminal goes straight to ground, so it's a positive ground chassis. Something you got to keep in mind when you're working on it is positive ground. You don't want to be attaching power supply ground lead to the chassis and then touching, because you'll blow up some transistors or something. So let's just remove this power lead for the motor. I think it's just tacked on there through a choke. Now we can remove the motor. More screws and nuts. But first I think I have to remove these. And look at that, isn't that nice? It comes right off. Oh, there's a screw there. Okay, more lubrication. This is all dry. Pull this back. Okay, it's the top half. It's got a clutch. And the bottom half. Got grease here, but it's all cakey. This grease is... It's like, I don't know, it's like pudding now. Putty. Alright, now I can remove the motor. These two screws. Ah! That's what I was afraid of. This bracket, I think, is a stop, and it goes, I don't know if you can see this, it goes under here. It looks like some kind of adjustment, so I'll have to keep that in mind. All right. Okay, I'll disassemble this and we'll get... Actually, I could just lube it from the ends. Both ends are open. And I'll lube it that way. The belt. Let's see if we can find one. Okay, so this belt is stretched already, so I don't think I'm going to get an accurate reading from this. But what it tells me here is I got a 29 centimeter belt. Maybe a 30, but it's stretched, so maybe it's 29. Let me see if I have a belt. So 29 centimeters works out to about 11 inches, considering there's a slack in it. So I have an 11-inch belt here, or is it 11.2? I'm not sure. 11.2. There's not much difference between 11 and 11.2. There's not much difference between them. Right there, between that and that. So we'll try fitting an 11-inch belt, square belt, because I don't have this round stuff. This one looks pretty much stretched out and done. So let's try assembling this with an 11-inch belt and see if it'll... Now these are new old stock too, so they're probably not the greatest shape, but it'll be better than what was in there. Okay, I want to keep it away from the grease. This pulley is in need of cleaning. You can see all the rubber residue on there. Let's work on this motor first. Okay, so first thing I want to do is the rubber pad fell off, so I think that went here. But I'm going to clean this. I want to get rid of all that dead rubber on there, because that'll just create flutter in your sound. Got a little bit of corrosion. It looks like I might have to take some sandpaper and fix that up. It's pretty black. So I might have to spin this motor in. See, there's a big spot of corrosion here. I don't know, brass corrodes like that. It must have been from the roller sitting in that spot for so long. It's cleaning up nicely though. So let's get some power here somehow and put some. Okay, what I want to do is lubricate this, and I have about a millimeter of shaft end play on this, which I'm going to use to my advantage. I'm just going to inject in a little bit of a grease. It's a synthetic grease, and I'm just going to lubricate the shaft with this thing if I can get it in there. I'm going to pull it up, give it a unique quantity. Can't even see in there, hang on. This is a real hypodermic, by the way. It's got a sharp end on it, so you got to be very careful with it. And this is HX1. I bought it on AliExpress to try out on different things. This claims to be a high performance synthetic lubricant, so we're going to put it to the test here. If I can get that in on the shaft. You don't want to flood the thing with it. Just it's a really kind of a viscous white grease. Go out a little more. I want it forced into the bearing. It's feeling better. There we go. It's in there now. Okay, next I want to spin the motor and I want to clean that corrosion. The positive here. Notice the positive is grounded to the case because the capacitor shows positive. I'm just feeding it 5 volts. So what I want to do is clean this portion. Yeah, I need some more current. Let's turn this up. Nine volts. This is just brass. Don't worry about taking off too much material because it doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect the change of how it behaves. Just want to make sure you get rid of that lumpy corrosion on the one side of the. So I'm getting close, eh? So you can see it. Let's keep going. We'll do some down here too. In that groove where the belt goes, there's some corrosion. What I need to do is I need to get a chunk of this. See how that's cleaning up? Now, let's see. Still has a bit of a spot there, but it's a lot better than what it was. I'm going to leave it at that. Next thing is, I want to put some rubbery renew on this tire. So let's get this thing spinning again at a lower speed. Back to 5 volts. First I'll give it a clean with alcohol. Okay. And then this is rubber renew. I think it's outlawed, you can't buy it now. I'm not sure. It's pretty toxic stuff. Contains 1,1,1 trichloroethylene and methyl silicate. Don't breathe it, don't get on your skin. Pretty nasty stuff, but use very, very little of it. Just a drop. And what that does is it just takes off that layer of oxidation. You know, your rubber gets dry and hard, cracky. It removes the surface. It kind of smells like bubble gum. It removes a lot of dirt too. It's got a lot of dirt on it. The brown. Let me get another Q-tip. pinch rollers pick up a lot of garbage from the tape, dust and smoke, you name it. As the tape goes by, the pinch roller kind of picks up on it and collects it. So you always got to clean these pinch rollers. And then they get a dry, hard surface on them too, which you have to kind of remove, make it more pliable and gives it more traction. Otherwise, the pinch roller just slips and you get unacceptable performance. Try one more time. Still dirt coming off. I'd like to see it cleaner than that. I think I might have it now a little bit better. Yeah, it's a little better now. Got the majority of it off. Okay, I'll leave it at that for now. So I think the motor's running good. It's quiet. I'll change the capacitor. Just because it's probably close to 50 years old now. Who knows? Okay. So this is a 10 microfarad, 10 volt. Let's check its ESR just for the hell of it. It's not bad. 2.6, which is good. What I'm going to put in this place is 100 microfarad, 25 volts. Just bump it up a bit. Okay, positive, negative, positive to this side. Okay, that's done. Clean up this groove as well. It's got rubber residue in it. Anytime you change belts, you want to clean the belt path, because the belt, you know, gives up a bit of rubber and pieces come off and then they get stuck to the metal. And I see that black stuff there. You want to get rid of that. And I think we're ready to reassemble. We need some grease on this shaft. Ooh, it's not what I wanted on there. Got way too much here. Put some here. Okay. Okay, let's reassemble this with the new belt. And then we'll turn our attention to this tire here. I think it'll probably need a cleaning and a lube, and we'll do that with the take-up and supply reels as well. We'll lubricate. The grease on these is not, it's not even sticking to anything anymore. So let's put this in. We got our lube on a shaft. The thing is, you don't want to get lubrication on that surface. There we go. I think it's a lot better now. Okay. Let's just goes like this. Sorry, it goes like this. Okay. This is upside down. And this is upside down. And this goes like this. And we got lock washers. And nuts. That's better. There. All right, that's in. Now we need the motor, a rubber pad, okay. All right. Now we need to thread the belt. Okay, after much fighting with it, I got the belt on. I had to remove this side and this tube here to get because there's no room between the flywheel and those posts to get the belt to squeeze through, so I had to make some room. But it's on now, and it looks like it's the correct size. It's not over tensioned. It's got some tension on it. You could probably use a little less tension, but we'll see how it runs here with that new belt in. It's still making noise, which is this. You see that wheel jumping up and down? Wonder why it's doing that. Let's take that wheel off and clean it. It's definitely got some issues. It's got some dirty spots on it. Okay. Still making a lot of noise. You don't want that. Take off the Z-clip. Make sure it doesn't fly across the room. Pull this way. Pull this off. And that's another dry bearing there. Let's clean this. It's got a flat spot here. Maybe we can get this to perform a little better. Another flat spot here. So let's clean this. I'm going to go first with alcohol. Take off the dirt. And then I'll go follow it up with the rubber renew. It's pretty dirty. I don't think we'll get rid of those flat spots, but hopefully we'll improve the traction of this tire. So I'm guessing this thing is early 1970s, maybe late 60s. You know, they used to, back in the day, they used to brag about how many transistors they had in their equipment. Like it was some badge of honor. The more transistors, the better. It was a selling point, right? And that's why they mentioned that in this, in the paper that had the 5 transistor. He was kind of boasting about the capability, having all these transistors in there. And that's what they used to do. Still need some more cleaning. But this thing was built for a specific purpose. Yeah, I think it was built for like your businessman type application where you could go to a meeting, you could plunk your tape recorder down on the table, pull out the microphone and record everything, and probably had about an hour's worth of tape on there on the slow speed. And you know, try and imagine that back in the late 60s when somebody would pull that kind of power move at a meeting. It really had a statement behind it, but and it was a useful thing. I don't think this has seen much use. It did see a bit of use and then it got put away, but it's for the most part it's very clean condition. There's no scratches, there's no abuse. Most of its life it's sat closed up and in a closet somewhere. So I think I'm finally getting this now. It's starting to clean up. Okay, I'll try the rubber renew. Let's try one more application. Still getting a load of dirt off this thing. Let's try that. Get this old grease off. E-clip. Let's try one more time. See if it's got any better. Oh, it's much quieter. Still hear a bit of thumping. It's got more torque too. Okay, well, let's lube and assemble the rest of it and see if we can get it to play tape. All right. I wonder what this roller does. The right one. This one is the right one. Okay, let's clean the head. is okay. Let's give it a try. Put some power to it. First thing we need to do is reconnect that motor. And I need some power. Positive ground. It's a lot quieter. I'm just going to rewind it here and play the other side because this side is finished. Actually, this is the side I want to play. I just want to rewind it. Doesn't look like we're getting very much. No, I only got my voltage down at 5, so I'm going to turn this up to 9. There we go. Normal operating voltage. It's running nice and quiet now after we lubed everything. I forgot to put this stop in. I'll have to do that. Okay, so I got it rewound here. Let's try it out. I got no audio other than noise. We still got some tire issues here. It's not engaging. Let's see that. For the most part, it's working. So I'll rewind it all the way. We'll have to troubleshoot this amplifier. Alright, so what I've done is I disconnected the motor again, and we're going to just try the amplifier alone. And it looks like we're getting nothing. Volume's right up. You should be able to hear something against that head. It's picking up small magnetic, but here we're getting nothing. Connections on the back. If I touch this, I should get some 60 hertz hum, but I get nothing. So, what do we have to do here to get this amplifier working? We got it powered up right now, and it's showing a dead short. What's going on? Okay, there it's working now. We got 10 milliamps at 9 volts. Let's check the input. Nothing. I'm just using my body capacitance to... There we got a noise. I have a dead stage around here somewhere. You hear that? Should be here too, but it's not. Okay, let's pull that amplifier out. Okay, got the amplifier out. We got our 5 transistors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 SB 170, two SB170, two SB172, two SB172, two SB175. This must be the output. But yeah, we got 5 transistors, so how about that, eh? So let's check for these are germanium transistors, so I should have, there's 2.7 volts there. .7 volts there. That transistor is good. Sorry, not 2.7, 0.27. These operate on a lower depletion region than the silicon ones do. So let's check this one. This one here is these 3. 0.3, that's good. Let's check this one. 0.3, that's good. These 2 here, I got this 3. This one here is loose. No, that's climbing. That's climbing. 0.2. 0.2, that one's good. Where is the last one here? Those 2 and this one, okay. 0.2. 0.2, those are good. Let's check the last transistor. I have a feeling this one's working. 0.3. 0.3. So it appears all the transistors are not, none of them are shorted. None of them are open. I'm going to say some of these capacitors are probably past their due date. Let's see this one here, the 100 microfarad at 10 volts. I do have the power shut off, yes I do. Okay. This one's jumping all over the place. It should be at about 1 ohm, but I'm getting between 2.5 and 4.5 ohms ESR on this capacitor. I do have a loose transistor here on the board. You can see the trace is lifted, and that's not for me. And then I have another trace here that's barely soldered. Well, let's see what we can do with this. Turn the power back on. Okay. That transistor's working. Sounds like I'm getting nothing from the second last stage, because they have the output stage, I believe, and then they have an intermediate stage between these 2 transformers, and then I think they have a stage back here. Let's see, that comes in and goes into this stage. Huh. No, I got nothing. Why? Okay, I think what I'm going to do before I start troubleshooting is I'm going to replace these 11 capacitors. And I have a feeling that they're probably aged beyond use. I don't know. They don't. They're quite old. But I'll do that first, and then we'll figure out what's wrong with the amplifier. Alright, so I spent some time, recapped the amplifier board, and I was really surprised by what I found. All of the capacitors were beyond spec, and what I mean by beyond spec is, for example, some of these had an ESR in the half mega ohm range, and some of them had ESR in the 70 to 100 k ohm range, and the capacitances were way out, and they were just totally gone, totally shot. So now it's time to put this back in. I got it resoldered to the wires again, and I got it capped. So let's put this back in. I have a feeling now it's going to work, because considering the condition of those capacitors, there's no wonder it didn't make any noise other than a rushing noise. Yeah, it was the capacitors. I didn't find one good capacitor in the bunch. So now they're all replaced now, so it's all good. And I'll show you what else I did here in a second. Something else I did, I replaced this capacitor. It was a 500 microfarad. Replaced it with 1000, and I added a DC blocking diode for reverse polarity protection, just so that if anybody decides to plug in an adapter and it's reverse polarity, you don't smoke all those germanium transistors. So we can try this out now. Let's hook it up to a power source. Alright, we're all wired up with power, and I have the tape threaded, and see what happens here. This is still not good. I'm getting hiss. There's nothing on the tape. I think we're getting tape hiss. Let's try recording something. Okay, we have microphone. Let's rewind this a bit. Now, got a microphone. Let's try this. Abort, abort. Okay, let's try one more time here. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Time for playback. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Result. So it works. We just got to figure this out. Might have to take the lube off that. Okay, I'm looking at this mechanism here for this, the take-up reel. And how it works is motor through the tire, through the take-up reel. But the tire has to get into position before it starts to move. See, it's kind of sluggish getting down there. And I think this spring is very weak. There's almost nothing there. So what I might do is take that spring and shorten it a little bit, and just to give it a little more zap. So let's try that right now. So what I'll do is you can't see here, can you? Just remove the spring. What I'll do is I'll shorten the spring probably by maybe 2 wraps and then cut it. Get a pair of cutters. Can't seem to get it right. There we go. Okay. Let's put a bend there. And let's cut the spring back here. cut the spring right here. There. There's my pliers. Fold this up. I probably could have put a different spring in here, but this one will work. A little bit shorter, a little more tension. So let's rehook this up. What I need is there we go. That's much better. Okay, I think we got it. Let's reassemble. So I was just about to assemble the chassis back in the case, and then this came loose. The glue's so old it just let go and dried up. But I'm looking at the build quality of this thing. Look at this. They made this little box out of plywood. And they painted the inside black and they covered the outside with vinyl. I don't even know why, nobody will ever see it. But it's just amazing, some of the build on this thing. So I'm just going to hot glue this back in. And I'm going to be done with it. And that should stay in place for indefinitely. Nice, eh? Isn't that something? Okay, I'll put this together now. So that pretty much concludes this one. I've got it back working again. Just to test it one more time. I got the wrong speed. Let's get the speed changed on this. And listen to what they're saying. Problem with these capstan adapters is sometimes they go missing.
So will Jennifer. Her ears are all right now. I still have to keep on bathing them though. Oh dear. Sorry about the muddle in the middle there, but Jennifer's operating this recording as Gordon is now on holiday. He's gone down to stay with Beth. This week has been glorious, really hot again, so I hope he's had a good week.
So yeah, that's a result. Good to get this working again. I don't have an AC adapter for it, but that's easy to find. 9 volts negative tip. I should make a note of that. And then, yeah, it's a nice little unit. I like it. Alright. Thanks for watching.
Hello, it's me back again. I can't get these people to say much. They're all stuck for words, you know, like you were. I can picture you all now, downstairs round on the billiard table, making your recordings. It seems so funny, doesn't it? Just talking and not being answered. And then you think, oh, I've got so much to say, and nothing comes out. They had a good time this afternoon at Auntie Annie's. Mind you, she ticked them all off. And me as well, naturally, because I hadn't been to show her the photographs of Canada. Anyway, I'm supposed to be going on Tuesday because Mum's been invited out there to a meal. I think they're going to have chicken and the full treatment. So I don't know what size she'll come back. She's putting on weight nicely now. I can't get this Olive to do anything. She's just sitting on the settee, puzzling her brains as to what to say. Maybe she'll come to in a minute. There's old Jim sitting in it, killing himself with laughing. He said Michael wasn't well. I think Michael's all right, but he's just chickened out, like me when I went to go and have my ears done. I'm still hoping now that I should go and get them done in Reading. But I hope I don't have all the trouble that Jennifer and Pam had, messing about with matchsticks on cotton wool, wiping their ears with all this paraphernalia. Jennifer's already lost 2 matchsticks inside my bottle of lotion which she uses. I can't even think of the name, what to call it. Oh, I know, surgical spirit, that's right. She's already lost 2 matchsticks in there. Well, Olive, I'm going to see what else I can get these others folks to say. This tape seems to go on forever and ever and ever. Cheerio.